Okay.
Okay, so how do we use RPE, RIR, what do they mean, and how do we use them? So RPE stands for rate of perceived exertion, and it is a scale typically from 6 to 10, and it speaks to how hard a set might be. So for example, a 10 RPE is a 10 out of 10. You could not do any more reps, you couldn't do any more weight. That's it, it was a max effort. From there, we can work down to maybe a 6. Anything below a 6, generally what we just call warming up, or a warm-up weight. So a 9 RPE would be 1 rep in the tank. An 8 RPE would be 2 reps in the tank. So it's 8 RPE, it's 10 minus however many reps you could do. 7 RPE, 3 reps in the tank. 6 RPE, 4 reps in the tank. If we want to go a little bit more granular, we've got 9.5, 8.5. So 9.5 would be not necessarily 1 more rep in the tank, but maybe a little bit more weight. 8.5 RP would be definitely 1, maybe a second. So just if you need to provide a little bit more detail, a little bit more context, that's what that would mean. Reps in reserve, RIR stands for reps in reserve. This is a little bit more self-explanatory. 2 RIR, 2 reps in reserve. So you might think, okay, well, if RPE can sometimes mean how many reps did you have left, why would we also use RIR? The way we tend to explain this is usually just a slight difference in our approach or our intent. So RPE would usually speak to a compound lift where you might fail due to kind of systemic fatigue, purely because the weight's heavier rather than necessarily like a local muscular fatigue or muscular failure. For example, we might use reps in reserve on something like a leg extension or a leg press where the target muscle of the quads, we want that to be the limiting factor. So it's 1 rep in reserve or 0 reps in reserve for that target muscle group. Whereas RPE, it might be something like a squat or a deadlift where it's not necessarily your quads giving out or your hamstrings and glutes giving out. It's just generally you had nothing left in the tank. Something else to consider is when you are more experienced, RPE starts to change a little bit and it becomes, especially from kind of 1 to 3 reps, so very, very heavy sets. An RPE 8 single or a 9 single, so 1 rep, might not necessarily be a case of you had 1 or 2 reps left in the tank. It might start to become a little bit more subjective than that. But for beginners, it generally tends to hold quite true.